6 games, and let's dive into them now, shall we? Peter Schrager, you look at this schedule and you pick apart something that catches your eye already on a Monday.
How about a Sunday night Collinsworth-Tirico Buccaneers-Commanders game? This was nobody's prediction before the season started. Maybe you thought the Bucs would win the division. You didn't pick the Commanders to be a wild card, and you certainly didn't pick them as the 6th seed and not the 7th seed. Two of the most fun, electric teams that, oh, by the way, have put on great performances in the month of December in dramatic fashion. I love this. 2 Heisman Trophy winners going at it. And I like that they got what I consider the premier treatment, that Sunday night game with those 2 voices on it. You look at this Commanders story. What they have done in the final seconds of games has made them the cardiac kids, and they have found a way. They have won on a Hail Mary.
Yep.
They have won on a walk-off overtime touchdown on Sunday night to beat another rookie quarterback, Michael Penix. They have beaten the Eagles at home. They have beaten the Giants at home. And then yesterday, they go into their arch rival Dallas Cowboys building in a game that did matter for seeding. And Marcus Mariota says, you know what, Jaden, chill over there. I'm going to do a little something, too. And he finds a way to have the dramatic win. The Commanders-Buccaneers game, it's not the same storied franchises in recent years as the Ravens and the Steelers on Saturday night or the dramatic matchup that we're going to have with the Eagles and Packers. But you got maybe the 2 feel-good stories of the entire season going at it in what might be the most fun wild card matchup. If I'm picking this one now, like, you're telling me that Jaden Daniels is going to be playing in great weather on a Sunday in Tampa with all the momentum after having just won 2 key games to get in this thing against Atlanta, of course. But I look at that Philadelphia game 3 weeks ago where they had to get that win at the end, and they did. The names of players that have stepped up for Washington, whether it be Olamide Zaccheaus or Zach Ertz, it's a really cool story. I don't know if it necessarily ends in the wild card round. They might be marching on. They could be the hottest team in football. So Washington, that's who I'm looking at right now. And I also love what Tampa's got going on.
I did too. But Washington brings me to my point too, because Sean McVay was the subject of controversy yesterday. It's an interesting thing that he did. So they're at home, and he said, I'm going to just play the backups. I'm going to start Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo throws for a whole bunch of yards. Understand that if the Rams won that game, if they won yesterday, they would be home next week against the Commanders. So it's a rookie quarterback. He's never been there before. It seems more desirable because if you lose that game, they're at home next week against the Vikings, who hadn't lost a game in 3 months. So you want to win, right? McVay said, I don't care. I'm playing my backups. I know my team. I know what we need. They lost the game, and I love the decision that McVay made. His whole take was, look, we haven't had week 6 was our bye. We've been going at this thing 3 months. We got a quarterback who's getting up there in years. We got wide receivers who battle through injury. I am not in here to win a wild card game next week. I want to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm thinking long term. I'm going to rest my guys. We'll try to win, but if we don't, we'll take our chances with the Vikings. And by the way, I'm not terrified of that matchup, especially after what I saw last night, especially that the Rams have already beaten the Vikings in that building. And the Commanders are on a 5-game winning streak themselves. I don't want Jaden Daniels coming in there like Mike Vick going into Lambeau and taking over the game, destroying everybody. I like that McVay. I know it's unconventional. You don't want to do that. Who want to play the Vikings? He knows his team. He knows his weaknesses. He knows what they need. And that is a guy who has don't question me authority. He is a made guy. If it's a young coach, what are you doing? McVay's like, I'm McVay, you're not. I'm resting him. I'm going to play Jimmy. If we lose, we'll take our chances. I love the decision, and I'm starting to feel like it's going to pay off for him.
Kyle, you've done this several times today, and somebody in the production booth just said in my ear, your face that you make when Kyle repeatedly references the Vikings have already been here this season and lost in this building is just one where, like, the director is like 10 seconds in advance is like, you're about to come back on camera, a.k.a. change your face, Jamie. It's not good. It's not great. It doesn't feel nice. What do you look at next weekend?
Well, I do have some of the concerns, especially since we know that the Rams, went ahead and beat the Vikings in that last game, in that last matchup, and especially, too, Detroit showed how to rattle. But I'm looking over in the AFC, and I'm looking at the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers against the Houston Texans. And I really think in this last game, they've gone on a 3-game winning streak, but they might have found their nice little patch into kind of being a havoc, a little bit of a headache in the AFC run-up. I look at what Quentin Johnston and the game that he had. If they can maintain some sort of presence in the wide receiver in the deep threat situation, the Chargers could be a handful because they have that run game going on. So I'm looking at the Chargers as somebody that people are probably thinking one and done maybe, but I think they could go a little further than a lot of people are giving them credit for. And a lot of people aren't talking about them, but I saw something yesterday in that game where I think the Chargers can really make some noise in the AFC.
Speaking of wreaking havoc in the AFC, I can't wait for Sean Payton to go to Buffalo and see what kind of mess he can get into with the Broncos and the Bills.